Yay.
Okay, and now we are live. We should be live. Hopefully we are live.
I think so. It says live.
I'm gonna go and check.
I see it live. Yay. Now I just need to have the...
Yep, it says it's live. We're good.
Okay, good.
Do we have an agenda this time? Is that...
Yes, I have an agenda.
Oh, yeah, you did. That was cool.
I have a topic plan. Just
Rhea is the best of us then.
So organized.
Prompts. If you don't ask me questions, I will just sit here and get absorbed in my project and I will say nothing. Okay, so my topic plan, first of all, welcome. This is my channel, The Book Finch, and I'm your host today, Rhea, and let's just start by introducing everyone. So, Bree, do you want to start? You're the first face on from my left.
Sure. Hi, I'm Bree. My channel is Bree Reads Books, and I'm here because I love science fiction and fantasy, and also I'm crocheting today.
Nice. And then Claire is next, and she's muted.
Sorry, I was just tweeting and I realized that it would be super loud. I just wanted to tweet out the live stream. Hi, I'm Claire. My booktube channel is Claire Russo. I haven't been reading a whole lot earlier this year, so I don't know that I'm going to have loads to talk about. Plus, I'm happen to be quite tired today, so I'm sorry if I'm not talking massively, but I do have a lot to catch up on with my book blanket, which is Crochet Hexagon. This is all on the program to talk about later, isn't it? Right?
Yes. Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Now it's just introductions, and then it's Diana is next.
All right. Hi, I'm Diana or Di, either or, and I just started booktubing, and right now it's under Bookish Di because I suck at titles, and that's the only thing I could think of. So
Di is great. We should link her book haul, which is her second video.
Yeah.
Which I just watched this morning.
Yeah, I can drop that in the chat later.
I should probably have the chat. I will just go to Claire's retweet and just copy it there, because
I'm the last person to introduce myself, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Rachel. My booktube channel is Colonnati. I love science fiction and fantasy, and I am hopelessly addicted to crocheting things right now.
Okay.
So
Hi, Maya. Hi, KJ. Hi, Joe. Hi, Giselle.
Oh, hi, Maya.
Yay! Oh my God! What even? Why is technology so bad, or why am I so bad at technology?
Oh no, I think it's the technology's fault. I think we can all agree.
It's YouTube's fault. I need to say vault back into the creator studio and be like, oh no.
Is that Carrie? If we can hear
It is Carrie. She might make an appearance.
Good cat.
Are you gonna come up or not?
Oh no! So cute. Why are you so cute?
She's lucky she's cute because she woke me up at an ungodly hour this morning.
No. My cat woke me up by licking my face, and I was like, your cat food breath is gross. Get away.
Okay, I finally have the chat, so I can actually see what people are writing. Yay. Yes, okay. Next up, since we have all introduced ourselves, and we are, Chelsea might join us later, just so everyone knows. But then I have on the topic plan project progress report. So basically, what are we doing currently? How are the blankets going, etc. And I can start again. I am currently doing this kind of cheeky embroidery
What does it say?
Read a fucking book.
Nice.
I still don't know if I'm gonna gift it to someone, but if nothing else, I can always put it on my bookshelf and let it judge me in quiet.
I mean, I think that sounds like something that you want in the background of your booktube videos.
True,
Yeah,
true,
I think
true.
so too.
I like it.
And I'm a little bit behind on my actual like book blanket. I still need to cut a few pieces and start sewing. It's a bit difficult to do it on stream because I'm like doing it like quilting, and I don't want to use a sewing machine like during stream because that would be really obnoxious to everyone else.
It would be so obnoxious, yeah. I'm also quilting my blanket and I'm caught up, which is cool. Here, let me see, because I've got it right here.
I saw it on Instagram. It looked really pretty.
Yeah, so I've got my nonfiction, my YA.
Oh, that looks so nice.
That's really pretty.
Yeah, science fiction. And then I have, see if I can find. I got this, I had to go ahead and buy this little, like, you can't see it, it looks like flowers, but they're little chicks. And that's for my middle grade stripes.
Nice.
That's so cute.
I still need to like get some new fabrics because I was too optimistic about my fabric spending. So now I'm running out of the fantasy fabric, unsurprisingly. So Claire, you could go next.
I really am behind. I haven't been reading a whole lot. Like I've kept a tally so that I know what hexagons I have to do. This is the blanket that I'm doing. It's called the Weekender blanket. It's a Ravelry pattern. I've got a video on my channel with a link to it if people want to see it, but it's really pretty. It's a lot of hexagons. So I've got some done, but obviously I need to sew them together. And there's a way to like actually crochet them so that they are crocheted together and you don't need to sew it. But I was too impatient and excited about the project in January, so I started it like this. And now I'm like, is it gonna look different if I change it? And I could never deal with that. So I probably just have to sew the whole damn blanket, which is fine because I've really not been reading a lot just for lack of like time. I'm getting kind of overwhelmed with like everything, like booktube projects and, you know, day job, volunteering projects, various things like that. So I've got like maybe 12 things since the beginning of the year or something like that, and that's counting fan fiction, so that's not a whole lot. But I think what I want to do is like make myself take days off that are just like designated reading holidays.
Do it.
That sounds lovely.
Because
I want designated reading holidays, just saying.
Well, next weekend my day job, I have to work on like one weekend day every weekend usually. So next weekend I have Friday and Saturday off, and then I have Monday off as well. So I'm working on Sunday, but I have taken an extra day off, and I think I'm gonna like do a recording day and then like a reading day and then an admin like chores day, maybe something like that. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm just carrying on. Hopefully by next stream, I will actually have something pieced together and can show you all. And I'll be like there'll be more stuff. Like, just need to get kind of stuck in some things.
What is Diana up to?
So I am making a scarf, and hold on, let me knot it because it was getting unwieldy. So
It's gonna be like a Dr. Boo scarf.
Oh, that's so cute.
So it's very long. It's a little thinner. I made it a little too thin, but I think it's good because it's going to be very long at this point. So
it's very Doctor Who-y.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Because of all the different genres I'm tracking, it is looking very Doctor Who, and I'm very excited.
You're reading so much.
Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised at how much I've been reading this year. Yeah, and I've been reading way more nonfiction than I expected to this year. I need to get a new nonfiction yarn ball soon.
Yeah.
Like I did the very poor decision of tracking like all my reading with my blanket, including comics, which was a very poor decision.
I just changed the colors that I'm assigning to comics because I've just been reading, like half of my reading so far this year has been comics, and I had picked this like really pretty coral that's kind of like a clashy color because I thought, that way it'll be a pop of color, but I'm kind of actually changing it so that it's like I've got 2 blues and 2 purples, and that's going to be sci-fi, fantasy, comics, and fan fiction. And I don't like that it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense in terms of like close genres to each other have similar colors, but it will like make the blanket look better.
Yeah, I ended up buying a new color for middle grade, so I got a dark green to kind of go with the light green I had for YA.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm also tracking graphic novels, so just like trade paperback collections, because if I haven't been reading floppies, and if I tracked floppies, it would be ridiculous.
That would be, yeah.
Yeah, I'm also
not
only like
either.
tracking trades and like manga volumes and such, not single issues, because of that would be too much. How about Rachel? What are you working on today? Are you working on the actual blankets or something else?
It's big enough to actually show now.
It looks so good.
It looks
Yeah.
amazing. You see that like weird optical illusion column in the middle
Yeah.
of it?
Yeah, I love that.
Which was
Okay, I think there
accidental.
might be something wonky on mine because I can see Rachel, but I can't hear her again.
So I assume everybody else
It's like
can
the
hear me.
opposite problem of when we started.
Yeah, everybody else it seems like can hear.
Yeah.
Oops.
But yeah,
I
I love
don't-
the like optical illusion stripe.
Yeah, it was an accident, but I think that when it's actually done, it'll look really geometric
Yeah.
with the waves, kind of the ripple pattern, and then that column in the middle. So
I think if you had
Happy-
everything on the same line, it would look quite like, as if you tacked 2 things together,
Yeah.
I really like the pattern on that. It looks like really nice.
Yeah.
Um,
I accidentally muted Rachel. I'm sorry.
yeah, people are muting me. Why are you muting me?
yeah. Check to see that you haven't muted anyone.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think I've muted anyone. I'm so confused about what Hangouts is doing. Or what my computer
Can you
is doing.
still not hear Rachel?
Yeah, I can't hear Rachel. I can hear everyone else.
That's so weird. Rachel, sing a tune.
I think Hangouts is just being mean today.
Yeah.
Like you should have seen the first, like, before I even gave any of you the link when I was trying to figure out how this thing is working. What are you doing over there?
So what the cat is doing is like giving everybody the stink eye. I love that it's like a generalized stink eye in the direction of the camera.
Yeah, it's just like earlier he was trying to go to my laptop, and now he's just decided that he's gonna hang out over there. Like, okay.
I banished my cats from the room because this is my room where I keep my rabbit.
Oh, fair.
And so they love to chase each other around in this room.
As you do.
As you do, yeah.
Carrie's currently chilling on my lap.
Nice.
Tabby's currently chilling on my bed. Well, on her bed, really. That's how it was, with the bed in my office.
My other cat was playing with a zip tie earlier
Yes.
and reliving all her like kitten years. She was so excited. I was like, okay, just you do you, boo. Oh, I also finished my gloves
Oh,
that I
nice.
started last time.
Wait, let me
Show
see.
you.
Ooh, that like filigree around the fingers is really nice.
Yeah, it's like a little like crochet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this
neat.
is like the first time I had knitted anything like in like 7 years or something. So
Really
this is
good.
my first project. So really happy with that. I'm next time I go to my local like yarn store, I was thinking I want to start doing like the Moomin patterns that I have.
Ooh.
So I need to go and pick up some yarn for those. As one does, because I don't have adequate yarn in my house.
No
Well,
one ever does.
we never do we?
Never.
You can never have too much yarn or too much fabric.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
you can have is too little
That's what my
storage.
mom says.
Like last time I went, went with the idea that I will go and get more yarn, and I ended up leaving with fabric instead. So, and I didn't even have any like projects that would require fabric at that time, but now I have fabric.
Fabric just finds you.
Yeah,
It's meant to be.
I'm still thinking that I should
Fabric
probably
finds a way.
Yes.
start working on my like cosplay for Worldcon if I'm going to.
Oh, hello. What is
actually-
it going to be? Do tell.
I'm not sure yet, but I kind of want to do like Kizzy from the Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. Like basically, I just want to like do the jumpsuit. Like I know she is like I want to do the outfit with the jumpsuit and the kind of where she uses the jumpsuit as a kind of like notepad and stuff. So I want to do kind of like
that'd be cool.
homage to that. And then just have a sort of like a textured wig and goggles. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you want to. I mean, I feel like with cosplaying at cons, if you're not like going as a cosplayer with like, you know, if it's not a thing that you're doing because you're like being sponsored by a company or whatever,
Yeah.
I always want to do a costume that's like not too annoying, like not too, because it gets.
I want to be comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be comfortable and I don't want to take up too much space because I will be sitting on like programming. So I don't want to be that person who has like massive shoulder pauldrons that block everyone.
Yeah, don't do too tall of a wig.
Yeah.
Cosplay as Marge Simpson and then like sit in the first row of.
Obnoxious.
I think everyone would give me the stink eye.
Yeah, but you have a cat, so you're used to it.
Yeah. True. What's everyone reading right now? Or any reading plans that you have?
I need to talk. I need to talk.
Yes, yes. Do talk. Do talk.
Let me get my scissors out of the way. I started reading a memory called Empire.
Oh
I got an
I saw that on Thomas's mailbag, and I was like,
Oh, okay. So
I
it's
kind of
worded by Anne Leckie. Like she's got this gigantic quote on the cover of the book. But
promising.
if you love the Imperial Roch books like Ancillary Justice, you will adore this. It's so good.
I just basically, when I saw that, I was kind of sold on the aspect of history. Like it apparently
Yeah.
takes a lot of inspiration from like
The
actual
Byzantine Empire.
archaeology and
Oh,
stuff.
cool.
So I'm really into that.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the empire in the title, I think it's kind of inspired by like Aztec or Mayan civilization. The names and the words from their language really remind me of that for some reason. And of course, they've got the whole sun god emperor thing going on. It's just such an unusual influence. You don't see a lot of that in science fiction. And then the other culture it seems very Slavic, like very Armenian with the name. So yeah, I think Martine is actually like a Byzantine Empire scholar.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
cool.
that's what I heard. That was on the sail ship that Thomas was reading.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they were talking about her on NPR the other day.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I'm loving it. I'm reading it, but I'm getting slowed down because I keep tabbing things and I keep taking notes. I'm gonna have to do a review of it.
I honestly can't wait for your review because I had never heard of it, and then Thomas put it on my radar, and now I'm like, I am intrigued.
Yeah.
Okay, we lost Di for a bit.
Oh, she's just gonna rejoin so that she can try and hear Rachel better.
Yeah.
Or, at all. But yeah, I got a NetGalley. I mean, I requested an arc of Memory Cold Empire on NetGalley a while back because like the summary is very Imperial Ratch, like it's about an ambassador, and it just like gave off those vibes. And then I got approved for it like yesterday, and the book's already out, but I was just like, yes, excellent. I was not expecting it.
Yeah, I think it's the beginning of a series. I'm pretty sure it's not just
Oh, nice.
one.
Cool.
So I'm if I get to the end and I really love it, I will have to get up the nerve to like ask for
Yay.
copies of the other books. So
It worked.
it worked. You can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
So basically, what this means is that Google Hangouts is haunted today.
Oh,
It's either that or like I'm cursed with Google Hangouts because remember last month where I had to years because the audio
mic thing and everything. Like what?
Sorry, by the way, if I keep yawning. Like, I love all of you. You're very interesting. I'm just really bad at sleeping, and yeah, in general,
It's fair.
no one's fault. I just feel a bit rude doing that, but yeah.
If we
Now I have to-
time
I've-
cheer.
Not worked on the blanket enough, and now I have to like Google how to do this double trouble cluster on my phone.
Oh no. Cat.
Oh no. So I'm done gushing about A Memory Called Empire. So what is everybody else excited about or reading?
Are we doing anticipated or what we're reading right now?
What we're reading right now. Anticipated is at the end.
I just finished God's Monsters and the Lucky Peach by Kelly.
Did you like
Wilson. Yeah. So this is a time travel novella, and I like time travel a lot. And I like just finished it today, and I was not expecting it to go the way that it went. And I was very intrigued by like how she decided to like structure that story. So I thought that was really, really cool. Like, yeah, like a proper,
I just saw it. Saw that book come in at like our library. Like they got a physical copy.
Oh, cool.
So
Oh.
I think I might have to go
Yeah,
and read that.
The thing with Tor.com publishing, that the one thing that's been extremely shitty of them is that they have been doing this thing where they won't give libraries like e-copies of the books for like 3 months after publication, and they claim that it's to reduce piracy, which just doesn't actually track with data and research that's been done on ebook piracy and like how it actually works.
The whole point of why people pirate anyway is to like the most given out reason is that the copies are not available in certain areas or area restrictions. So
Yeah.
they will just pirate them and it reduces sales. So basically the best way to combat piracy is to make sure that your service is available in all areas.
Right, because there's also a not insignificant subset of people pirating who can't absolutely afford to buy the books, are able to find them and just don't care. And those people, like, you won't change their mind by, delaying something for a couple of months or whatever. So I just think it's a really unpleasant policy that they have, and I think it's, given that they have such a hold on the novella market, I don't like to, talk about Tor.com books without mentioning that, because I don't think they should get away with that policy.
No, say what you will about like Netflix or Hulu, but they've had a significant, and in the anime side, like Crunchyroll, they've had a significant impact on reducing like piracy, digital piracy.
Is that policy something they're doing for every single title or only select ones? Because my libraries have been getting the Murderbot novellas from Tor.com the day of their release.
Really? Well,
it might be.
I wonder if it's in select ones, because I've noticed
Tor and Tor.com are different things as well.
Yeah.
Tor.com publishing
Tor Books, Tor Forge Books is one imprint, and Tor.com publishing is a different imprint.
Yeah.
So I heard that it was Tor.com publishing, which has been doing mostly novellas, but also some novels, because Witchmark by C.L. Polk was a Tor.com publishing novel, and I was reading that expecting it to be a novella because it was from them, but it's actually a novel, and it's also bitchin'.
Yeah, I've seen evidence of that policy with the Tor Forge titles, like Mary Robinette Kowal's books were delayed, but not some of the novellas from Tor.com. And
I'll have to clarify that.
Particular library district, at least. So I've been very curious about this. I don't think it's a very effective policy.
I think there's
not.
Yeah. I mean, I do hope that other presses come up being more successful doing, well, I hate to frame it like that. I do hope other presses come up that run novella lines that are commercially successful, because there have been presses doing acclaimed novellas that just couldn't, when now.
Well, just like general competition. General competition makes the service more quality, like if Tor.com has had more competition, they would have an incentive to keep bettering their actual product instead of just lying on their laurels and just because right now they know they are the kings of the novella line, and it shows when you look at the Nebulas and the Hugos and everything, their novellas are always on the short list and stuff.
Yes. Sorry, I need to actually look up this stupid stitch, otherwise I won't be able to continue with my thing.
Okay, so I can talk about what I've been reading. I've been reading Frankenstein in Baghdad.
Ooh.
It's a bit slow going. I'm not hating it, but it's so dense. It's so dense that I'm slowly reading it.
It's a short book, but it is. You're not wrong. It is dense.
Yeah. It's I was really hopeful because it's 270 pages.
Yeah.
And then it's everything. I have almost an hour-long commute. And when I got to school, I had read 30 pages, and I'm like, what? 30 pages in 1 hour? What is this?
Because of the language, or is it the content? What is it about it?
I think for me, it's the sentence structures are always this person, their full name did this, and then the next sentence is another person, their full name did this. So it's kind of how does your like brain get used to that, because I'm not used to that sort of like writing.
Yeah, it's also like I would say the content is also a little heavy
Yeah.
because it is about like bombings in Baghdad and
Well,
like
you have
how
bombings and you have like real estate stuff, and then you have that one guy with the printing press thing, and there's just so many like socio-economical and political things going on that it's like you have to pay attention to pretty much every word you're reading, and that's why it's slow.
yeah.
I might actually put it on hold for a while because I don't have to worry about returning it to the library because it's my own copy, and focus on some lighter read because the Owls are starting tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
So I have quite a bit of stuff to read for those as well.
Oh my goodness, the owls.
I saw Rachel's TBR video for the owls, and I have to say, even though I know like the format of the owls read along and all of that, like it was just delightful to hear Rachel be like, okay, so I need to pass all of these exams. I need to make sure that I can go for whatever career and whatever. And I was like, you need to take your braid out so that your hair is like Hermione, you know? It was
But honestly, like, I have not been this invested in a readathon for a long time. Like, I spent like 4 days doing my bullet journal spreads, drawing everything out and copying little fonts and everything. And I was like, eh. And
it's so hard not to get invested when like the creator clearly spent so much time like designing the most fun pamphlets.
Yeah.
And, like,
The whole booklet of career options is what hooked me. I'm like, I have to be an alchemist librarian.
It's so much fun not to do.
Like I printed the whole thing and made like my own like booklet out of it because I was just that extra.
I am really bad at read-alongs and readathons. So I'm like literally mixing up the two words, so this is how much I'm good at it, you know. But like
I think really, everybody sucks at them, to be honest, but they're still very fun.
So what is this?
Oh, okay. So this is a Harry Potter inspired readathon, which is like a month-long thing in April where people have to try and read like a certain amount of books. And the creator of the readathon, like last year, it was just like kind of magically themed. But this year she's decided to theme it after the OWLs and the NEWT exams. And she's made this adorable booklet that's like, you know,
your career options, like booklet, like imagine like your wizarding school guidance counselor giving out this pamphlet and like, no, you need to decide what you want to do in the future.
Have a biscuit, Diana. Anyway, so there's like the owls in April and then the NEWTs in August. So Rachel's point was if you do every single category right now, then you have all your choices open to you in August, so you can, you know, do whatever.
Yeah, which is like the most Rachel response.
Your owls determine what you can do during the newts in August.
Huh.
It's really fun. Like it's like it was last year. Last year there were owls 2 and newts 2, and then there were like 2 extra magical readathons. Like there was an extra credit one and stuff. But this year, like she has gone even more extra, and it's just amazing.
The booklet looks like it's a prop from the movie. Like she's done it where it's like laid out. There's a lot of like really cool. I was looking at it and doing like, is this girl a graphic designer? Because it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Do we actually know who is organizing it? Because I
book roast
now. I feel bad.
Georgina from Book Roast, or is it G from Book Roast?
Cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Actually, what I'm reading right now is like me attempting to preempt it a little bit because I'm reading right now Winter of the Witch, which is a retelling kind of, and it's gonna fulfill one of my owls. So I figure if I can get a good chunk of it today, then technically I'll finish it tomorrow. Because I'm a cheater, McCheater pants. But
Isn't
take a
the
look at
point to
that.
have like fun and like, you know, it's not so serious, says the overachiever who was like, I need like my career choice only has like 7 subjects, but I need to have 2 more so I can get an outstanding from my imaginary wizarding exam.
Look, I am so busy and I'm officially not allowed to volunteer for new things until after August because I'm a WorldCon volunteer right now and it's a lot. But just you guys talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely trying to do this now. It makes no sense. It's just my brain. But I know I'm gonna do it now, so I'm like,
you know, it would be weird if you didn't do it, Claire, because you're like one of the biggest Potter nerds I know.
yeah.
Like
I know,
this readathon was like made for you.
well, I'm having a lot of issues with, well, not a lot of issues, but you know, it's a bit like if you've been a Harry Potter nerd for a really long time, like right now, this period in history, in fandom, kind of like trying to detach from each other which part of the Harry Potter fandom like spark joy and which of them just want J.K. Rowling to shut the fuck up.
I just want her to shut up. Can you please
just want her to be like, hey, I wrote these books in the 90s and they're not very diverse. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna like write different books and try to make them better.
Yeah.
Like that would be cool if she said that, you know?
She's not gonna say that.
Or if she actually acted on that.
Yeah.
Like that's the part that gets me is the like, I wrote these in the 90s and so they're not very diverse and I'm just gonna retrofit it.
Yeah.
But not follow through on my new movies.
Well, you know, like Dumbledore's sexuality is like moot compared to like wizards pooping each other in the 1600s. Like
I think there's actually a really, well, I can't remember the exact title, but the YouTuber Rowan Ellis, who is a really, really great LGBTQ YouTuber in the UK.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of
done
her
a video on like she's done a video talking about like J.K. Rowling and the writing of children's books in the period that she was writing and like how she came up, and she talks about Section 28, which is the whole thing in the UK where like there was a long period of time where it was just illegal to like bring up LGBTQ plus like people and quote lifestyle in schools because it was, you know, inappropriate for children or whatever. So she's talked about that, and I just thought that was really interesting because obviously I didn't grow up in the UK, so that didn't strike me as quite as obvious. But when she talked about it, like it made complete sense. And she's still bloody doing it. Like
times are
if you're watching, you should let us know what you're reading in the chat.
Yeah,
and also like
books coming out now.
Diana hasn't told us what she's reading.
Yes.
So yesterday I ended up I had plans yesterday, and then I ended up rereading By the Sword by Mercedes Lackey because Bree Reeves had mentioned it, and I was like, you know, the Tarma and Catherine books haven't aged well, but what about By the Sword? And I reread it, and it's still great. I love Carowyn a lot. She's amazing. It makes my heart sing. And I'm also currently reading Star Wars and the Eras of Feminism, and I'm gonna fucking fight this author because she has bad Padme takes. And I like, part of the reason I ended up mainlining By the Sword was because this author kept making me so angry because it's like, and I flipped through the other chapters just to see like what her deal was. And I swear, like, she just doesn't like Padme. And like the entire chapter so far is her bitching about girl power and Padme's dresses. And it's just, I'm going to fight her. She lives near my grandparents. I'm going to fight her.
I
Please
want
don't
to watch
actually
this
fight
fight.
this woman.
Yeah, so I might end up not like DNFing it because it's due tomorrow and I can't renew it because it's an ILL.
Oh yeah. Have you,
Um,
Di, have you read the new Padme handmade book?
I have not. I honestly might read that next as like a palate cleanser.
I was gonna see what you thought of it before I picked it up.
So someone I know who's a big Padme fan, like absolutely loved it. She wrote a review on ToshiStation.com. Is it? No, it's ToshiStation.net. But her Twitter handle is Chaos Brienne, so she wrote a review of it.
Okay.
Oh, fuck.
What?
I just stabbed myself with my needle. Like,
Oh, that hurts so bad.
straight
Was it
through
just
the
was it just with the embroidery needle?
Mm.
Yeah,
Like
well,
I stabbed like it straight through the muscle. Like I was like,
oh,
oh jeez. I'm glad I didn't scream. Like, I wanted to. For a while there, I wanted to.
I don't blame you. That sucks. That's the worst.
Okay, I've figured out now how to do this stitch. It's been 30 minutes. Because usually I watch videos to tell me how to do things, how to do stitches, rather than reading the notes I took 3 months ago.
All right. So we've got someone in the chat reading Sleeping Beauties. That's KJ from Worlds and Ink. And then Anita is reading Skyward. We've got Giselle reading The Dark Lord of Dirkholm by Diana Wynne Jones. And also
Ooh.
Darkness Fell. I love Diana Wynne Jones.
I remember
So
loving
good.
I enjoyed so much. Yeah. Then I'm currently reading The Vila, which is the serial box story by get everybody this time Yoon Halley, Becky Chambers, River Solomon, and S.L. Huang, and it's based on a story created by a different person whose name I will look up now, but it's really good. I think I might have mentioned it like last time. But
yeah, I remember talking
really
about
good.
that.
Like
we had a talk about like serialized stuff.
yeah.
How
But
some
I've
people
been
are not into it, and some people are.
well, I just was really I got an arc of it. Like they sent me an arc of it, and I was like, okay, this is exciting because I don't know. I feel like I always suck at doing reviews. Like, not that my reviews are bad when I do them, but I can never tell when I'm going to actually read something and when I'm going to actually manage to do a review. So I was trying really, really hard to read this bloody book that I was so excited about, like in time, and do a review in time, and I'm still like late from what I told them that I would do. So I'm genuinely like not, I don't always feel great about reviews because I always feel like I'm way behind on doing them. But
I
really
still have
excited
like 6 arcs, like NetGalley arcs that I need to review, and
yeah,
I've just been really just. What are you?
Kitty.
Like, I decided to actually stop requesting them because I get so guilty if I don't manage to actually read them in time.
Yeah, me too. That's why I was really surprised that I got a memory called Empire, because I couldn't recall asking for it. But I think sometimes I get too excited about a book and I ask for it anyway. So this is what happens. But I have the worst NetGalley ratio. So
That makes me feel a little bit better because my NetGalley ratio is not amazing.
Everyone's NetGalley ratio is horrible.
But I just feel like NetGalley ratio, like I genuinely feel like it's not a good. I genuinely feel like it's a useless metric, right? Because if you have a really successful blog or YouTube channel or whatever, people will send you stuff on NetGalley whether you've asked for it or not, and there's going to be not enough time. And the point is not, we're not paid. We don't owe them anything. We are like doing a thing in our spare time they're providing promotional material, hoping that we'll do free marketing for them. And I really, really dislike the way that it's kind of been framed, in particular by NetGalley, in terms of like, yeah, no, you need to. And you know, I have all these thoughts, and I still feel terrible about my NetGalley ratio and like reviews I don't do.
Yeah,
so.
I'm constantly like having like anxiety over unfinished arcs. And then I feel like a terrible person because someone went through the effort to like if I get an arc, that's an arc that someone else didn't get, you know? So that probably gives me anxiety more than anything else. It's not that
It's not a valid reasoning for electronic arcs, though. Like
that's true.
Like, yeah. I mean, I'm with you, but only until a certain point. Like, I'm quite happy to berate myself, but I'm not going to let you do that. Sorry.
Okay. Has everyone talked about what they're reading then? I think that's everyone, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Wait.
The next topic I have was media, like any general like media we might want to discuss, like
Honestly, the only
movies,
thing I've been, like,
TV shows.
The only thing
Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Captain
Yeah.
Marvel,
Yeah.
Critical Role, and Hassan Minhaj's Patriot Act is about the only thing I've been keeping up with, or failing to keep up with in Critical Role's case. But
Has anyone seen the Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix? Or am I the only one?
I haven't watched it.
I have seen a lot of chatter about it.
Yeah.
Like I like it's become one of those things where I'm watching it with my partner.
Sure.
Mhm.
And I like I love the animation styles. There have been like really cool like if you look at them as tech demos, they are like pretty amazing. But so far, like I have this weird disconnect with the actual stories. And it's weird because my partner has really liked them. He's been really like, yeah, these are so cool and like so inventive and stuff. And I'm here like, but are they? Are they though?
Does he? Sorry, Raya. Do they read a lot of SFF usually?
They watch a lot of like SFF media, like Star Trek and stuff like that.
Fair enough.
And they do read some, but not a lot, because they don't generally like read anything but like nonfiction. But I think what drives me nuts is that they have clearly, in those shorts, they've gone the extra mile to include like people of color and queer people and women in like central roles. Like they've clearly been thinking of that, but I feel like it doesn't come across in the writing. Like the way they are written feels like the writers' room might have been a very male-centric writers' room, you know? Like
Davia Baker Whitelaw.
Especially the way like the women are written. Like I feel like I'm watching them and I'm like, no woman I've ever met acts like this. Like it's weird. Like I have this huge disconnect because I appreciate the art behind them. Like they remind me kind of like heavy metal. Like, you know, what heavy metal did to like comics, bringing like Franco-Belgian comics to the USA and such. This is kind of like that. Like it has that same kind of intent, and it tries to tackle like more adult themes. And that's another thing. I think because the animators are like based in like US and UK, and they may not necessarily have had the license to show a lot of like graphic nudity and violence. So they are now going extra ham with it. And, you know, as a Finnish person, like, that's no big deal in our media. So I'm like,
So you mean like in season 1 of Game of Thrones, where we're like, we get it, you're allowed to show tits now,
Yeah.
like, actually do like story properly.
like, yeah,
Oh, I know what you mean.
exactly like that.
As
You
a
don't like
French,
sex
as a
position,
French,
Claire?
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Gavia Baker Whitelaw had a piece about it for the Daily Dot where she was talking about like how it read, how she thought it read kind of sexist, but I don't know because I haven't watched it, and I was surprised to see that because of some of the names that were attached to like the rating of it, where I was like, okay, well, I'm all right. But I do trust her as a critic. I don't always agree with her, but I think she has a general like good touch on, you know, genre media and stuff. So
I just generally like I will watch all the episodes because I do want to support more animation, like getting greenlit, and especially like animation geared towards adults. So I will watch it. But it's also important to like critique stuff, even if you like it, or even if you like dislike it only a little or something. I think it's important to point those things out.
So apparently most of the stories in Love, Death, and Robots are from male writers, and they're stories from the 90s.
Well, it shows.
Wasn't there a Scalzi story as well?
I don't know. I'm just reading what somebody's telling me.
No,
right now.
that's why I was kind of like, you know.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but one of them is written by Scalzi.
Yeah.
Now I keep wondering which one of them it is. Which one of them reads like a Scalzi story?
The only thing I know about that show is apparently there's like something with the algorithm where like if Netflix thinks you're like queer, it'll show you in one form, but if it thinks you're straight, it will show you in another form.
I want to know if Netflix thinks I'm queer or straight.
It was like something that showed up on Tumblr, which I know it's Tumblr, take what it says with a grain of salt, but it's like, I just found it kind of hilarious.
I mean, also algorithms are whack, like, you know, and they're wrong a lot of the time as well, and they make judgments that are based on like, you know.
So the Scalzi stories were 3 robots, which is the very first one. And then when the yogurt took over, was actually quite fun. It's very short. It's like 5 minutes. I thought that was fun.
That sounds like exactly what I would expect John Scalzi to write.
I know, right?
The 3 robots one was actually really boring to me. Like, and that's the first one. So it's kind of like I don't know. It's like it kind of put me on the wrong foot with the whole anthology, sort of, because it started with that one. But yeah, there are some good ones, and there was also one that was like super creepy, and I actually had to like go and fetch a blanket so that I could like hide behind it because I was too scared, because it kind of went into that sort of alien zombie territory, and I was like, okay.
Nice.
But yeah, a mixed bag, but I would still say that would still recommend for the animation.
I've been listening to the Good Place, the podcast, which is like done by the Good Place team. It's hosted by Mark Evan Jackson, who is Sean on The Good Place. And because of that, I literally just started another rewatch of The Good Place. This is like my 3rd time watching through The Good Place. So I watched season 3 when it came out, and now I've like restarted from the beginning. because they have like some of the actors come on, but they also on the Good Place, the podcast. And I would always recommend The Good Place, but The Good Place, the podcast is also like a really good listen because they don't just they have, you know, they'll have an episode where they just talk to Kristen Bell on My Shore like the entire time, and that's really great. But they also have episodes where they talk to like the set designer or the person who edits all of the footage into like a 21-minute episode from like, you know, everything that they film. And then they have like, you know, the costume designer or the person who scouts out locations or whatever. And it's just really interesting in terms of like just how TV shows are made, which is, you know, something I think like I don't really know a lot about, and it was cool to hear about. So that's my like double media recommendation. Also, Derry Girls, if you can get it. Derry Girls is really funny.
Yeah, I heard you mention Derry Girls on Radio Free Fandom with Jin Jenny.
Yeah, we talked about serialized fiction as well. So if people are interested, although, yeah. And Derry Girls is just hilarious. And I say, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure everyone like it's a huge deal in the UK right now. I'm sure it's even more of a big deal in Ireland. Like apparently, where they actually live, the actors like can't leave their house because people are like, "Oh my god, you're so great," which is such a good, just so fun to hear. But it's just really, really, really funny. It's about a group of like teenagers in Londonderry in the 90s, and it's very 90s, but at the same time, you know, it's in this against this background of like Northern Ireland during the Troubles that I didn't really know about. Anyway, it's really cool. And Sister Michael is the best.
I also saw the Captain Marvel movie a couple weeks back, and I think like it made me think a little because I'm kind of in the minority with that movie in that I liked it, but it like didn't like wow me, like in that sense that I didn't feel like that emotional click that I know a lot of people did.
I can understand that though.
But it made me think about, you know, when people talk about like average things, like you know how a lot of media isn't very good. Like it might be good for some, but you know, like for example, a lot of male-led media is allowed to be very like bad even. So for me, when I went to see Captain Marvel, and I was like, okay, if this movie makes me laugh and if I have a good time, I will consider it a success. And it did. But then when I was talking about it with my friend, she was like, well, it's a shame because it's like one of the first like female-led like superhero movies, and it didn't wow her. And I was like, but what does it matter though? Like does it need to be a masterpiece? I think that's an interesting question to have. Like, why do these movies that center women have to always be scrutinized with like they are always put under a much like bigger lens, a much closer lens than other types of media, and the same goes with, you know, LGBTQ plus and other minority-led films.
And I mean, I loved it, and I had a very emotional reaction at certain points. But I would agree with you that in structure and in like what it tries, you know, I just don't. I think it's good. I don't think it's top tier MCU.
Yeah,
but I think it's good.
I thought it was entertaining.
But like, I think
I had
shittier movies in the MCU.
But you know, like, but then again, if I'm thinking like in retrospect, what movie in the MCU has given me that emotional oomph? And I'm like, crickets. Like, if I'm being really honest, I'm like, I'm like, sorry.
Claire's gonna kill you.
I'm sorry. Like, they're entertaining. I know they're entertaining.
I mean, just sit her down in front of Captain America Winter Soldier, like on repeat.
Okay, I'm not
obviously-
gonna tell you that Captain America Winter Soldier has probably been the most boring one out of all of them.
I have not.
know that
I have not
together
actually
until the
seen-
end of the line, Ray.
I'm
I haven't
sorry.
actually
I'm
seen all the
sorry.
Marvel movies, but the only two that I have been like, wow, that was so fun, I'm gonna watch that again, were the first Iron Man and Black Panther.
Yeah.
Black Panther.
That's
Oh,
it.
now that I think about it, Black Panther has probably been the one that has got me the most like emotional and excited. If I'm,
I mean,
like,
I think
if I'm
that's
being really
definitely
honest.
best. I think that's definitely the best for me and the one with the most depth as well.
And I think part of it is that, and also like the first Iron Man, but I think that part of it is because
Robert Downey Jr. is the best Iron Man casting ever.
well,
Yeah.
that's true. But I'm thinking more about the whole Marvel MCU continuity, because that, like, I like Black Panther because it actually like stands on its own for the most part. Like, you don't,
Yeah.
if you think about it, you don't actually need to watch pretty much any of the other like movies. It holds itself together very well. And the same with the very first ones in the MCU. So when you get like in the whole canon, like in the whole movie thing, it starts to get a little like what's the word? Like, it can be a bit daunting to get into it and like hold all that information in and such, and that kind of might keep you at arm's length in terms of that emotional connection if it's not something that you are excited about in the first place.
And I think DC is kind of stepping, because they tried to do that automatic everything is connected thing that Marvel had built towards.
Yeah.
And it sounds now that DC is moving more towards standalone, which I think would kind of solve that problem where you don't need to know everything that happened in like 12 other movies to make sense of what's going on.
But honestly, I feel like some of the better Marvel movies that we've had in recent years have also been like that. Because if you look at, Thor Ragnarok and Spider-Man, first Spider, it's Homecoming, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, sorry. If you look at Spider-Man Homecoming and Thor Ragnarok and like Black Panther, like that, that was a run of excellent MCU movies.
Yeah,
and those
I
are
loved
pretty
Ragnarok.
standalone,
It made me love Jeff Goldblum again.
You stopped loving Jeff Goldblum?
No, I just like I was kind of like not aware of Jeff Goldblum for a while. Like, Jeff Goldblum was like part of the 90s. And
You're not wrong.
I mean, he did show up as one of Rachel Berry's dads in Glee, but that was in one of the seasons I prefer to forget about.
Really?
I never watched Glee.
You are lucky. You are lucky.
Claire,
I like to pretend Glee ended after the first season because it makes me mad afterwards.
Claire, and if we're talking about the whole Winter Soldier thing, I think that as a Finn, I'm just kind of like tired of the whole Soviet Union thing. Like, we lived like next to it, so I'm like
over it.
saturated with the whole Soviet Union media thing. So I'm like,
I mean, no, I can see that. I can see that definitely. Yeah, because there are some motifs in popular culture that are overused massively, and I read some commentary around the time that Wonder Woman came out where someone was saying like, this is really great that it's set in World War One rather than World War II?
World War One.
Yeah, and someone was talking about how like we've really, really overdone like the way that World War II is.
I think we've overdone all the wars.
Yeah, but like the way that World War II specifically is portrayed in media.
Yeah.
It's
kind of like,
everybody's
it's
favorite.
so accurate that at this point you're kind of having to like correct the perception of people Like, Mary Robinette Kowal talks about this a lot, and not in terms of World War One or Two, I don't think, but in terms of like when you're writing historical fiction, sometimes you find a cool historical like thing, and you can't bring it up because like you have to do so much learning of things. She was talking specifically about like a patent that she saw in her research for like a cool steam-powered wheelchair. And she was like, well, I can put that in, but no one's going to believe it's real history. And
it's so weird that if you think about it, like if you really think about like some historical things, there is some really weird stuff that has happened in history.
I know, right? Humans are so weird.
Yeah. I was actually also like thinking about like how different countries how different countries view various like things that have become popular in like popular consciousness. For example, the Romanov family, like the whole Nikolai II and such. I recently talked with like Ashley from Don't Have a Degree in Reading, and she was talking about all the Romanov books that she was going to be reading, and how she felt that Nikolai II is a very like fascinating historical figure and such. And that kind of is very weird to me because like I don't see Nikolai II as a very sympathetic character in any way.
No, same.
and it's like that weird disconnect where a history that a country might have, for example, Finland has a very weird history with Russia. So it kind of colors that way you view certain like historical events.
Yeah, well, I was talking about this with my dad because we were watching, I forget what it was about. It was something about, like, it was a modern day take on the difference between capitalism and socialism. And he was like, why are you disagreeing with this? And I was like, well, the American consciousness of what socialism is so colored by the Cold War that, like, you have to take what people are saying about it with a grain of salt.
Well,
I mean, it's the same general idea, like,
well, people have been bringing up like social democracy, and all you like Americans are like, that's communism, and I'm
I know,
here
right?
like,
I'm like,
okay.
let the French people show you what, or not just. I mean, it sounded like very misplaced pride right there, but I'm just saying, like, we have like, we had a period of time in French history, like in French recent history, where we had like legit Stalinist, like associated with the Soviet Union parties, like polling at, like 20% of the national, and this is like not recent as in not the last, not when I was alive, but it's like, when my parents were alive. So
Yeah,
still like touches the consciousness of a country for sure.
it's like
yeah. When I moved
weird.
to London, I was living with an American flatmate who was going to the London School of Economics, and at some point she had a party at the house that was full of LSE students, and I had just arrived from France, and there were arguments.
Can we talk for a second about Us? Am I the only one who's seen it? Because I know a lot of you guys don't like horror.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it.
You can.
I haven't seen it.
I want to. I tentatively want to see it, even though I'm a scaredy cat, and I know that I will probably be scared shitless.
So what I love about Jordan Peele's like horror so far is that he's not like a jump scare horror person. It's all so much more intellectual than that. And I just have so many thoughts. But if you haven't watched it, I don't want to like spoil it for anyone.
I do know, so my grandparents they used to live in Santa Cruz, and my dad and my aunt and uncle used to work at the beach boardwalk. So I saw the trailer. I'm like, oh, I know where that is. Oh, this is going to be bad if I ever watch it.
It's creepy, but it's a really good, insightful kind of creepy. Like I watched a Shudder, which is like Netflix, but all horror stuff. Because my boyfriend is really into horror, so we have that.
Yeah.
Has a documentary all on Black horror exclusively. So it's like all sorts of like the guy who plays in Candyman. It's, Black Screen Queens. It's Jordan Peele. And they're all talking about this, like, kind of the perceptions of the Black role in horror and how it's developed over time and, like, what should be done about it. But it was really interesting. Also, Tanner Dew was in it.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah. And yes, he is doing a Twilight Zone reboot, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, I was like, he's doing a what now?
I may be showing
I had heard of that.
I may be showing my cultural illiteracy here, but I don't actually know what the Twilight Zone is. I have no clue what it is, but I've seen kind of like the teaser trailer thing for the new version, and I was like, I think I might have to watch that. I want to know if it's going to be scary or not, because I can't watch it if it's horror.
I think of it as kind of like the weird fiction of TV. Like, it's not always scary, but sometimes it's just kind of trippy.
Yeah.
Is this like Jeff Vandermeer new weird of television type of thing? Because I could enjoy that.
Yeah,
Well,
kind of. Like the original one is like clearly done with a much more like 50s bent, 60s bent. So you can see the influence of like H.G. Wells and stuff in it. But I think actually you would quite like it. I'm surprised actually that you haven't seen it.
There
I
are
wanna know your thoughts,
so
Brie.
many things in this world I have not seen, Brie. It's stunning.
Yeah, I horrify my boyfriend all the time because he's like a huge movie buff, and I'm like, I haven't seen that, and he's like, what? Like, I haven't seen Leprechaun.
Has anybody here watched the TV show Bones, like the early season of
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so in the early season, Bones, Temperance Brennan, she occasionally like somebody presents a piece of pop culture to her, and she was like deadpans, I do not know what that thing is. That is
I feel like that all the time.
That is me all the time. I do not know what that thing is.
Yeah, and whenever I know what that thing is, I'm like, Steve Rogers, I got that reference.
I have that, like, I horrified my partner when I told them that I have not watched Space Odyssey 2000, and I still haven't.
Masculine folks need to lay off of being horrified when we haven't seen things. It's quite annoying.
But how can I know about science fiction and fantasy if I haven't read Heinlein?
You can.
Started.
How do you know about fantasy if you haven't read Tolkien?
I don't know.
I mean, look, everybody else like reading and writing fantasy has read Tolkien, so and is influenced by it, so you don't really need it,
But
Claire
you know,
wants an
Brie,
internet fight today.
but Brie, I bet that if you haven't read Heinlein, you are probably like a much more like mentally stable person and have a higher moral compass than the people who have read him.
I don't know. I think it depends on what you want.
I just keep hearing murmurings of incest whenever someone brings up Heinlein, so I'm like,
You're maybe not wrong with that part, but I think Heinlein, like how you take Heinlein very much depends on when you read him and which book of his you read. Like I consistently have very complicated feelings about him because on the one hand, you have some of the like weird messaging from like Starship Troopers, and on the other hand, you have Stranger in a Strange Land and Time Enough for Love, which are very much like, let's just go have communes and have free love. So the contrast between those two sometimes trips me up.
I think everybody should just start reading Heinlein with Double Star because it's a really fun book and it doesn't have that much problematic stuff in it. Except for the bit where the one woman in the story calls her lover daddy. It's weird.
I know that does it for some people. It doesn't do it for me.
well, it does for my
I mean, I
pen.
don't know that I would call it necessarily problematic if she's like actually doing it on her own agency. It
On her
doesn't
own,
have to
yeah.
do it for me. Like there is, I mean, it might be a bit like, okay, I don't really want to know, but
Well, it depends if we're reading the text from a Watsonian or Holmesian lens.
No,
Like-
that's very, very true. That is very true. I don't necessarily want to feel when I'm reading it that, you know, I'm reading something that is specifically something that the author, like, you know, either likes to think that women think or does think that women think. You know, that is, you're correct. You're very correct. But yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like I need to compile a list of people to reply with whenever someone says, "Oh, you haven't read such and such," and be like, "Well, yeah, but you haven't read N.K. Jemisin, so fuck off."
Has anyone else read, just because we're speaking of Heinlein, has anyone else read Cameron Hurley's newest, The Light Brigade?
I
Not yet.
bought it. I haven't cracked it open yet, but a friend got an arc and she really liked it.
I quite like it. It's like a super dreamy. For me, it responds to Starship Troopers much in the way that Luna New Moon responds to the Moon as a Harsh Mistress, where it's like it's clearly an homage to the influence that it's had, but with very distinct critique.
So that sounds
and
really interesting.
yeah, and that's awesome for me.
I kind of want to read like Starship Troopers is pretty much the only Heinlein I'm interested in reading, and that's mostly due to the fact that I like the movie. Like
The movie is
I
totally different.
unapologetically love
Isn't the movie like an ironic take on the book?
The guy who was doing the script writing for the movie version of Starship Troopers, like, read the first half of Starship Troopers and was like, I don't like this. I'm just doing something different. Like, that's an actual story. Like, he's talked about it in interviews and stuff. Like,
The shit you can get away with, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I think like that's why I want to read it, read the original, because I want to like see how it differs. And like, for example, like one of my favorite adaptations ever is Gankutsuo, which is an anime adaptation of The Count of Monte Cristo that takes place in space. And it is a science fiction space opera retelling of The Count of Monte Cristo, and it is amazing. It basically reimagines Edmond Dantes as being possessed by a vengeful alien parasite that
I like this.
That
I like where this is going.
That gives him the ability to become the Count of Monte Cristo, basically.
That's cool.
And it takes so many liberties with the source material and accidentally manages to become the most faithful adaptation I've ever seen.
But this is a whole rant that I've got about adaptation that I will spare you the entire rant, but I'm trying to like structure it into like a kind of almost a video essay sort of format. Like, I think adaptation, there's obviously theories of adaptation, right? But I think the important thing about an adaptation for me is always like the tone and like the feelings that it evokes. And I have this like rant / theory, mostly because of Les Mis, because Les Miserables is adapted a lot of different ways, and obviously then the musical is separately adapted into other things, into like has been adapted into the recent musical movie that a lot of people have seen. Yeah. And then the BBC has done like a very recent adaptation that was like trying to be really like historical and serious. And it's nonsense because this book is completely bonkers. It's like 1 million words long. It's legit one of the longest books in existence. It's nonsense because it was being published serially and Hugo was being paid by the page and he was like, I'm gonna write some more so that I can have some more money.
Yeah, that's like
spend on my mistresses with Victor Hugo. And he was like a rock star at the time. You know, when people make comments about like how J.K. Rowling became too big for her britches and then she didn't get an editor, like speak about, you know, Victor Hugo had a national funeral so big that there wasn't room to sleep in Paris. Like, you know, he was a rock star with like a rock star lifestyle. And the way that this story was published, like, there is literally a point in the actual book where like Marius is talking to Cosette and like she's like, just come to London with me and my dad, it's fine. And he's like, I can't, I have no money, I have only the shirt on my back, I haven't changed in 5 days. And then the next line is literally 5 hours later. He like, I have only the shirt on my back. I haven't changed in 5 days. And then he literally like head desks against a tree. And then it says 5 hours later, he gets up from the tree. Like, that's in a book. That's in your serious, like, literary canon. And then they try to make a movie that's well serious about it. You can't do that.
I actually wish that some people would go ham with Les Mis, like with the actual like bullshittery.
One day, if I ever get into like fiction writing again, I want to do a cyberpunk retelling of Les Mis where Javert is an AI, and that's how he manages to catch Jean Valjean, because obviously he's a hacker and he's got like a signature to his coding, and that's how he manages to like find him everywhere.
I love that.
Cool. Right, and then like obviously the AI starts gaining sentience, and its own programming destroys it when it becomes too sympathetic. It doesn't matter that it's in fucking space. It works because you are hitting emotional beats.
Yep.
If someone else wants to steal that idea and write it so that I don't have to do the work, please feel free.
And I will wholeheartedly recommend Gankutsuo for everyone. I will write it in the chat so you know.
People in the comments, people in the chat have been saying how much they liked it too.
My bunny has finally escaped from underneath the bed where he was hiding because I lured him out with a carrot. But if I'm trying to figure out if I can move the camera to show you without scaring him. Should I try?
Yes.
This is Byron.
I love.
Oh, fluffy.
He's very fluffy. He's an English and German Angora mix. And my cat's name is Wollstonecraft. So every time that they like run around each other and are suspicious of one another, it makes me very happy.
Oh my god, that's amazing. That's such a deep cut. I love it.
So I could tell you that we are probably going to be getting our third kitty during this year at some point.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
I am currently stalking a few litters from local like rescue organizations, and I'm like,
this makes me so happy.
I'm really like, I've been coming up with kitten names and stuff, and it's been amazing. Like,
what are your cats' names now? The cats you have now?
That one over there is Tesla, after Nikola Tesla. And then the other one is called Hedda, and she is named after a character in a Norwegian play that was the first example of a sort of bipolar, like mentally ill character in a stage play. And I love that play. It's amazing. But yeah, she is the like titular character of that.
Wait. This is not a hexagon. I made too many points.
Oh
no!
It's a weirdagon.
It's just special.
How did I do that?
Like, meanwhile, I'm here trying to figure out what even is embroidery.
So we had an agenda. What was supposed to be next on our agenda before we like definitely
Most
segued?
anticipated, right?
We were talking about media, so we went on a tangent, but you know, me and Claire,
a related
tangent, so
it was a salty tangent. That's completely on brand.
And next we have anticipated releases and book releases we are anticipating for the upcoming month, so April releases.
The new Aru Shah book, which I cannot remember off the top of my head. It's like Aru Shah and the Song of Death.
I don't know. I just picked up the first Aru Shah book, so
The first one is delightful. Hold on. Yeah, it's Arusha and the Song of Death. So that comes out at the end of the month. And then Claudia Gray's new Star Wars novel comes out in mid-April, and I'm excited. And also, I know it's going to break my heart because it's Claudia Gray writing Star Wars.
Right, but what is she writing?
Looking at the Arusha cover for the second one, and it looks really epic.
So Brie, it's Star Wars Master and Apprentice, and it's about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and it's set before episode 1. And like I said, I know it's going to break my heart because it's Claudia Gray writing Star Wars, and I recently reread her little Qui-Gon short story from a certain point of view anthology, and it's just my heart. I'm not ready.
Every time Claudia Gray writes Star Wars, I'm like, but what? Who are you going to make me fall in love with now? And then you're going to wrench them away from me.
Isn't that the best feeling, though?
I mean, but also, like, it hurts. It hurts so much.
It hurts so good.
The best pain.
I'm honestly waiting for Star Wars to give me the sequel to Lost Stars because I need to know what happens with Thane and Sienna, and like I need to know if those kids like are okay if they end up together. Like, yeah, if you want a good Star Wars YA novel, read Lost Stars and like just cry over Thane and Sienna with me.
You know, I might just do that.
Do it.
But I'm still kind of salty at Disney for like scrapping all of the extended universe.
Oh, I'm not.
Because there were some really nice, like for example, just the idea that Leia actually like became Jedi.
So like I'm speaking as a lifelong. There are some good Star Wars books in the old expanded universe. Like I love the Wraith Squadron books. The Wraiths are the dysfunctional found family of my heart, aside from like the Leverage crew. And like the Thrawn trilogy is fantastic. But then you also have the Crystal Star, which
there are some really like huge bombs in there.
And like I've heard about what happens with some of the latter series, and I'm just like, oh my God. Like with the Fate of the Jedi, and there's like this tentacle creature called Abeloth, and like I read a summary of it, and it's bad. It's bad. And then like Crucible, which is like the end cap of Han, Leia, and Luke's adventures. Like I read another summary of that, and it's like I don't know what was even happening with that. Like it's bad.
I imagine a lot of drugs and alcohol abuse. That's what I imagine happened in the 80s. Like,
no, this isn't the 80s. This is like recent.
What? Like how recent? I thought the extended universe didn't like when I think of extended universe, I think of like 80s and the 90s.
So this kept going. So bye, Kitty. So like hold on. So like there were some good stuff. Like John Jackson Miller's Kenobi is excellent. It is like if you're gonna read one of the old expanded universe stuff, Kenobi is fantastic. But some of the newer stuff, which starting I think with the Dark Nest trilogy, which was mid 2000s, like there is Jedi like bug sex in there. Like I wish I was joking. I am not. So if you guys like wanted a sampling of like the wild batshit stuff that happened, on Tashi Station, one of their staff writers, Bria, like 5 or 6 years ago, did something called the Waru Express, where she read like over 100 of the old EU novels, and like especially with the Dark Nest trilogy, you can see her just like slowly breaking down because it's just so bad.
Oh,
that's so funny.
So yeah, I do not begrudge Lucasfilm for dumping the EU.
Well, and they're taking a lot of the cool parts of the EU still.
Yeah.
If it was a good idea, they're mostly keeping it and reintegrating it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was under the impression that the EU is not like gone necessarily. It's just kind of reframed as kind of oral tradition and like
Yeah. So it's
rumors
legend.
and legends and whatever.
But yeah, just remember Waru loves you. And never read The Crystal Star because it is really bad.
So I have two anticipated releases. One is Storm of Locusts by Rebecca
yeah.
Roanhorse.
Mm.
That's coming out on the 23rd of April. I was kind of like 3.5 star, 3-star range on the first one, but I thought it had like really amazing ideas and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how it gets developed in the second one. And then the other one is Descendant of the Crane, which is coming out like next week. And I'm always here for like East Asian fantasy.
Who is that one by?
Let's see. I managed to accidentally close the exact.
It's Joan He. I think it's He. The surname is He, so I don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah. Sorry, I've got that on my list too. Yeah. Storm of Locusts is definitely on my list. I really like the characters and the character development in the 1st book, so I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes. And that's obviously by Rebecca Roanhorse, like we said. Shannon Maguire has a new novella coming out called Middle Game.
I think Middle Game is not actually until May.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
sorry. I have my Q2 like list on
Oh, sure,
in front of me. Wait a minute. So stuff that I've got marked out for yeah, there's I think this looks like YA We Rule the Night by Claire Eliza Bartlett. That's something that looks like it's April, probably just in a couple of days. And it's about a girl who works in a factory making war machines, and like she gets captured doing magic, and then like it looks like there's a revolution, and like teenagers fucking things up, and that sounds great. So aside from Storm of Locusts, that's one of the things that I've got that's like right now, because all of my other ones that I've got I think are a bit later than April.
My one that I'm looking forward to in April, the one I will break my book buying ban for, is Atlas Alone. I believe that's what it's called.
Emma Newman?
Yeah, sorry, there are two books with the Atlas in the title now, and I keep getting them confused, but yeah. The next Planetfall book.
I have to ask Rachel, I feel like every month you are talking about this book buying ban, and every month you are buying new things. Like, how is that holding up for you?
Well,
like every time you like I watch a video and then like I am considering like breaking my book buying ban, and then there's a haul and you're like, okay.
I've actually done really well. I've barely spent any money on books since my post holidays shopping spree in January. I've had a surprising amount of stuff that's pre-ordered, so I actually paid for it last year. And then things, I got really lucky because of course my birthday's in February and I got gift cards, so I pre-ordered stuff with gift cards. So that's why I'm still getting things, but it's gonna after April, I won't have any more pre-orders. So we'll see what happens after that point.
Is it just until August to save money for Worldcon, or I've asked you this before? I'm sorry.
It's until the end of May. Because what I have a budget for the year, and basically what's happened is I've pre-spent a little too far into the future, so I can't spend any more until I've unlocked more of my budget, basically.
That makes sense.
So
I have a book buying ban that's going to be going on until the Worldcon.
Oh,
And
that's you.
yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
I was like, I know someone has that.
Yeah, that's me.
Sorry, I'm very tired.
3 months going strong. And I can't say I have saved any money because it's been going. I found other uses for it. Like
That is
currently,
what I have done as well.
I'm on a huge makeup kick currently. Like Colourpop has been basically robbing me blind because they keep like releasing new eyeshadow palettes that I want.
One of the interesting ones that I've spotted, but I haven't heard actually anyone talking about it, is called Motherland. It's by Lauren Bukes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's like basically it's a take on like post super virus that kills all the men. And then of
What was
course
the
like a
author?
woman has a little boy.
What was the author?
Lauren Bukes, Beukes.
Oh, yes. Lauren Bukes was actually a guest of honor in FinCon like last year. Like,
Yeah, I don't know a
thought the name
ton
sounded
about the
familiar.
book, but it looks like what I've seen of it looks interesting.
Have you read Why the Last Man?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was yes or no.
Sorry.
Sorry. I've read like the first, I think. I hadn't. I mean, I didn't buy it because that would have been really expensive. I think I must have read it in the store at some point, like a terrible human. Yeah, because I read the first like few volumes of it in an omnibus at some point.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, it was. I just need to catch up at some point. It's just comics are too expensive.
Yeah, comics are
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah. I've been so happy that my library is stocking comics like crazy because
Very jealous.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's how I get my comics. One of the branch managers is my former boss, and she actually likes getting comics at her branch. So I go in and like, will you get me this thing, please? And she says, yes, Rachel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I keep every time I go to my library like to request stuff, and they're like, "Oh, we already got you covered. Someone already requested this thing," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I always go in with the expectation that now is the time that I will request a thing, and then it always they've already ordered it. I lack imagination, I guess.
That's no bad thing, though. Like,
Yeah, that's
if they
not a
do
bad
have
thing
it
at
in
all.
the end.
I haven't
Okay.
actually done that with my current library. Just, I don't know. I'm still like getting used to it. Smaller than what I'm used to.
Oh,
I've
yeah,
found
because
it-
you had an academic library before, didn't you?
Well, no, because well, I mean, I still have an academic library now, but where I was prior was Halifax, Nova Scotia, and so like that, like even though it's like a smaller city, it's still a city, and now I'm in a more rural area, and so it's a much smaller library.
One of the best things that I discovered is that I belong to 2 library systems in my town, which is long story. It's very weird, but they both have reciprocal borrowing rights with a very large county library system. And I got a free library card, and I have access to their overdrive now, and it's amazing.
Oh,
Nice.
And
Yeah,
I had no idea that was possible, but it's like, yes, the whole reciprocal borrowing rights and everything. It's so nice.
yeah, we don't have that. That we're part of a state overdrive, but it's not very good. So I mostly use my dad's library card because he has a library card with the LA Public Library, and that is very well stocked with ebooks and audiobooks. So that's normally what I use.
That was my problem with the libraries in town. Both of the library systems belong to the statewide library consortium for overdrive. So I have 2 library cards, but their overdrive systems are exactly the same, and it's quite limited. It's very frustrating.
Our library system currently is like where I live it's like a metropolitan library system that covers the 4 nearest like cities that make the metropolitan area of the Helsinki area, and I can request any books from any library in that area without any extra charge. So it's
So
basically like it covers something like, yeah, Maya says that over 60 libraries. And you can get like when you put a hold on a book in the system, then it picks you the one that comes available first, and it may be from any library that's in the system.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then for a little fee, you can also request books from like out of the city area.
Yeah, my library. Yeah, I'm in 2 different libraries because a friend of mine who's a librarian hooked me up with a card for her library. But even then, like the overdrives are really tiny, and like, yeah, it varies wildly in the UK. I think like per council or something like that. Like, I've been places before where like they make you pay money if you suggest books to them, and then they buy them. And it's not much. It's like, maybe like 40p or something. But like, what?
same.
Like right now I have to pay for interlibrary loan, so I just never use a library as a result, which is terrible because that's what they want. Like, that's what the council wants you to like not use it so they can justify like cutting funding to it, and I don't like it, but
we missed Waste Tides by Chen Kiban, I think is how you say it.
Oh yeah.
He's the guy who's I feel like I always hear him mentioned when you talk about Chinese authors almost immediately after Xi Jinping. So I will have to pick that one up actually because I'm very intrigued.
Is that book out now, or is it coming out in April?
I think it's coming out in April.
Because for a while, they're like, I came across my radar like over a year ago when I wasn't sure if it was even the translation was going to come out or not. And I've been very confused about the actual publication date.
Yeah, let me see. I'm going to look on Amazon right now. Because I know it was initially published in China in 2013, but the Amazon says the publication date is April 30, 2019. So
I'll see if my library can get that one. I'm trying to get my library to get more of the translated stuff.
yeah.
It's always hard. I feel like there's never enough.
But I suspect I'm one of the few people who's actually requesting purchases for science fiction at any of my library systems. They have very small collections, and so I feel like I have this responsibility to request good stuff and interesting stuff.
Remember what we talked about earlier, the whole media and average things and such. We like everyone is allowed to like consume also average media. What kind of English today?
So I keep a little free library out in front of my house.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, it has gnomes on it. It's great.
So brave.
And I try to put like really good children's and YA fantasy and sci-fi in there. And I'm thinking this year I'm going to try to do a blind date with a book and see if anyone bites on that.
I was like wanting to do a kind of little free library at our like neighborhood association, but it got shut down because my neighborhood association is full of like cranky old people who are like, we don't want anything new and fancy schmancy things in our like apartment buildings.
In London they tend to pop up a lot, like just in train stations, like in tubes, underground station. I mean, even train station in like suburbs or whatever. Like a lot of the time in tube stations, sometimes you'll just find there's an organization, I'm pretty sure they must be a charity. There's an organization that's like Books on the Underground, and they have like stickers on the books, and I think publishers must donate them. But yeah, so if you can find a book with like a book on the underground sticker, you can just take it and read it and like leave it again on the underground for like other people to enjoy on their commutes. And then in like, I've definitely seen like train stations or tube stations, like especially underground stations where the station is outdoors, which is some places like in outer, like more in the suburbs in London, like more in further out zones, not necessarily in central London. They'll often have like a little shelter for if it rains, like just a little waiting room for if it's raining with some chairs, and there is always like a bunch of books in there that people have left. So that just, when I see that, it always makes me feel happy, because I'm always like, like that's a good thing that people are doing. And
it was funny because before Christmas, I went to the Parliament House to do some, like, because my aunt works there, and there was this book trolley there in the Parliament House where all the politicians had left like books to be taken, and I just hung out there and saw that there was a lot of Agatha Christie, and I started like piling books into my backpack like a greedy bastard. And then like my aunt was like, no, you can't take that many, I let you take 5. Like I felt like I was a little child, like as a 5-year-old toddler or something.
You probably were.
Yeah. It is 10 to 11 over here, so I think we should start wrapping up. So if everyone wants to tell me what kind of projects and videos or blogs or anything is coming down the pipeline during the next week or two, and all the plugs you want to shout out.
Well, I'm gonna be doing a video for like a second quarter of the year anticipated books. I was trying to get it out before the second quarter started, but hey, whatever.
Well, who's counting?
That's true. Probably no one but me. But yeah, I'm gonna hopefully have that out sometime in the next week. I am hoping to do a review for the Vila as well. I've got a full day where, if anyone doesn't know, my partner does a full-time YouTube channel, so he's like always recording audio. So it's quite tricky for me to find time to record things. But he's away next week on Friday, and I've taken the day off, and I'm going to do a batch of recording. So I'm going to do a book haul, and this is why I have a recording day planned. But yeah, I'm going to do a book haul. I'm going to do a review for the Vila. I've got a few other things that I've got planned, but quite excited about actually like being able to set up and like have loads of time to do videos. So yeah, there we go.
I have coming up what I'm hoping winds up being a pretty in-depth look at libertarianism in Highlands, The Moon is a Harsh Mistress.
Nice.
My outline for that is quite long, so it's going to take me a while. And then I am doing my April TBR and my March wrap up coming up here this weekend. I should be filming and recording that. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. I'm so sorry. I'm assuming, I don't know the date or anything, but I'm assuming that we're gonna hear from like the Hugo Awards relatively soon, because it's usually beginning of April. So in case we hear about the Hugo Awards next week, I am going to try and do a live stream on my channel on Friday, because John's not here and I can make noise and everything. So just to talk and like gossip and talk about like the all of the finalists. But if it's not out yet, I'm probably just going to still do a really low-key stream with just me to like talk about the books that I've actually read, because I've realized that I haven't felt like I had enough books to do a wrap-up, but now it's been 3 months and I haven't done a wrap-up, and I feel like I probably should do. So I think maybe a stream, and yeah. So I'm sorry. I didn't take any notes for this stream, and I feel like it shows.
Well, didn't Rachel say that this is a very low-key, low-stress, or no-stress stream?
This is an informal chat. We're just all friends here. It's
Yes.
okay. Come as you are.
I'm tired.
How about Diana? What's coming up on the channel?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out like what I want to talk about. So I might do like a top 10 quarter 1 books. I might do something involving my TBR because it's ridiculous. I have an idea for something I want to do about the Women's World Cup, but that's not for a couple of months, so it gives me time to plan, which is good. Cool. So yeah, I have no idea. That's the honest truth.
So the only plausible conclusion to this is to subscribe to Diana's channel so that you will be kept up to date of all the shenanigans.
Yeah, pretty much.
That are happening over there. Just so you
Also,
don't miss anything. Winku, winku.
I don't think we can stress enough the fact that there is a cat that shows up on video on Diana's channel.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can never go wrong with a kitty friend.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited that as long as she'll let me, my thumbnails for my videos are just going to be my cat doing like speaking or with
I
books.
love it, Di. I love it. Oh my god. Yeah, I had to completely change the way that I film my videos because Tabby was just getting fed up with she was I guess I was just being loud and disturbing her when she was trying to sleep. She started like every time I was setting up for filming and sitting down, I would go, "Hi, I'm Claire and this is so and so." And I've spent, half an hour setting up everything so that she can be, visible in the background and stuff. And then she'll just wait until I'm like 3 sentences in and then go to the door and meow to be let out. And now she sleeps through whenever I record with the new setup where I'm like standing up and I am so I'm sorry if people missed the cat, but she likes it better, so it goes.
Over here, like Hedda doesn't care. She's like sleeping all the time because she's old. But Tesla is a crier. And every time I sit down, he will start banging on the, because I have this, my computers make a lot of noise. So I have this sliding door that's blocking the noise that comes from the office to the living room where I actually film. And he starts banging on the sliding door all the time and just makes a lot of noise. So now I've resulted in bribing him with treats every time he starts making noise, which is probably a bad idea. I'm encouraging him to actually do it, but it's working so far. He's happy when he gets a treat.
Yeah, he thinks it's working too.
I'm a bad cat mom. I'm like
You're not. You're delightful.
But yeah, on my channel next week should be reading wrap up and comics wrap up. I actually managed to read so many comics this month that I can do separate wrap ups. Because I talk so much that if I did them in one video, it would be 30 minutes. And then probably the week after that, I will have a sort of behind the scenes chatty video with my partner. We are going to go over all the equipment that I use for filming and stuff, and kind of behind the scenes, all the setup stuff and lighting and stuff.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's coming.
Yay.
What about Rachel?
I have no plans. I'm just winging it. Story of my
You're doing great, though. Are you almost finished with your Locus project?
Oh, not Lucas, Clark Award.
Yeah, I know science fiction and fantasy. I know things. Yes, Clark. That's another award that I'm aware of.
My goal is to finish that project this year, and if I keep up with reading the books that I own, I should get it done in the next 2 or 3 months. I only have like 4 more books to read, and one of them is He, She, and It, which I'm kind of roping Brie into reading it with me in April for the owls.
I'm always so happy when you talk about your projects and you're actually like making progress in them. And in the meanwhile, I set a goal to read 5 Finnish fantasy books, and I haven't even started, and we're already almost half. Like
If it
the
makes
year
you
is
feel
almost
better,
gone.
if it makes you feel better, I took an entire year's break on the Clark Award project where I didn't read a single one for.
Was that because you were doing the Hugo project?
No, I took an entire year off from doing any projects
I
at
mean,
all.
I'm just so impressed by you because, like,
Well, sometimes
it seems
it's
like
good to take a
you
break.
get through so many different things. It seems like you get through so many different things that have like widely different sensibilities. And sometimes you talk about books you finished so you could talk about them, and I'm just like, I do not. I mean,
What
like
even
some
is
of the
finishing
things
a
you
book?
wrapped up in your A to Z, I was just like, nah, no.
Doing wrap-ups for something as intense as the A to Z readathon is insane.
Oh yeah.
Doing the first year that I did that, it offset my wrap-ups by so much. I was so behind. It took me about a year to like get back on my regular schedule. So
Wow.
yeah. But yeah, at some point this year, I'll finish the Clark Award project. I have to finish it if I'm going to finish reading a bunch of things that I own, because I own the last 4 that I need to read. But I don't really have any plans for more stuff to come out like the next week. I gotta do some BookTube SFF Award Babbles videos. I'm behind.
I keep missing
once
the
again-
deadlines for them. I have a list of wishlist adaptations, right?
Well, today is actually the last day for that.
I know,
topic.
but it's 9 p.m. and
I'm going to do
gotta
mine
go to bed
too.
early.
We'll be in the same boat. I was like, oh, I'm going to film it this past week, and then I felt like crap all week, so that did not happen.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm one of those weird people that has my like whole month of videos already like planned out and penciled in, at least topics wise, because I just want to be on top of things.
Oh no, I have it all penciled in. I have content on my calendar planned until like August. I'm just shit. I just don't. Sometimes I just don't manage to get it done. You know.
I'm
trying to be okay with that.
I always have a list of like, oh, I got to film these videos at some point, but I don't actually say I'm going to do them until I've already filmed them, because I hate committing.
Yeah, that's why
I don't tell people. I just tell myself, and then I feel bad.
Pretend that I never even wrote it on the notepad, so I can just use the eraser. But yeah, who is our next month's host?
It's probably me.
Yeah.
Well, I know Chelsea's not here, but she hasn't done one yet.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Well, I mean, we have to check with her.
Yeah. I think I'm technically next up in the rotation.
In the Google Docs, I think it's 3, and then after that, we haven't figured out who it is for May. So tentatively, at least on Bree's channel in April, we are going to be having another Stitch and Bitch.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to head out then, because I have a Justice League puzzle that is calling my name in my basement right now.
That sounds great.
I am with you in spirit.
I need to sew these, but just so you can see like the color. Nope.
It looks so good.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just sew it up together and do some more while I listen to an audiobook, and then I'll I'll put it on Instagram or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna scoot. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye. Good to see you.
Let's see each other again next month.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.